The shocking truth on the Pistons deadline has been revealed as Langdon spoke to the media, revealing exactly why the Pistons did not make more moves despite being at the top of the Eastern Conference with aspirations to win a championship. And he also dives in on Jekins and exactly their plan to convert the contract into a one-way so the guard is eligible to play for the Pistons going into the remainder of the regular season and the playoffs. We're going to break down everything you need to know from these quotes from the team and so much more, and you're not going to want to miss it. Before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. If you're part of the 96% watching this and you haven't hit the sub button yet, but you want to stay up to date on everything to do with the Pistons, make sure you go down and hit that free subscribe button. It means the world, and we're trying to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough. But with that, let's just dive straight into it. And before we get into exactly what we've seen coming from this team after the lack of moves at deadline, let's dive into the contract update coming through. We want to convert him over the weekend, and he'll be a roster player going into Charlotte. At least that's our goal. That's our hope. Now with Jekins, of course, he is at 49 out of 50 games and the eligibility to continue playing with this team. He needs to be converted onto a one-way contract. Now with Jekins, I'm not going to dive too much in because I speak about this guy way too much deserved though. But looking at Jekins and the numbers, nearly 8 points a game, 2 rebounds, and almost 3.5 assists, Jekins has jumped into this group as a legitimate rotation piece, and a lot of people are saying, yes, of course, Ivey was traded, but a big part was the fact that Jekins has emerged as the legitimate piece within this team. Looking at the numbers, great offensively, 90 percentile in assists percentage, assist ratio is nearly 90%, and his defensive rating almost at a 90% at 89. Jekins has jumped in as a guard that can take the ball over when Cade is not in, and of course, a big thing with Jekins and why he's fitting with this team so well is the fact that the guard can shoot with this club as well. I mean, looking at the numbers, once again, at the minutes, everything is great. Of course, the paint numbers aren't the best. Mid-range looks good. Corner 3 is looking good as well, 62.5% from that right corner too. That's incredible. But looking at Jekins, he will continue being a part of this depth chart moving forward. It's just a matter of getting him signed or converted into the one-way, I should say. And of course, they still need to clear a spot, but it seems like the plan at the end of the day is, of course, Dario Saric to not join this group and head off. But the big thing is, and looking at this team, I do want to dive into exactly what we've seen Langdon speak on when it came to the deadline. The hope is that we're going to have ourselves a chance to play some real, meaningful basketball in the postseason, and that will let us assess what this team is and what we need to do going forward. Now, a lot of fans, including myself, looked at this deadline. Of course, Michael Porter looks like the perfect piece that could be acquired going into this. Of course, Trey Murphy felt like a dream, but it wasn't possible. Bobby Portis was kept by the Bucks after Giannis didn't get moved. But looking at the rest of the league at this deadline, the Wizards, of course, a team that just beat us, is out there with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Not going to make too much of an impact in this current season. But diving in, the Cavs went out to get James Harden, Darius Garland, of course, going the other way. We can see the Hawks at Kuminga and Buddy Hield. There's a lot of teams, including the Celtics, getting their big men. A lot of these teams made a lot of moves. They went out to get those roster players, get off some contracts, and the fact that we're sitting here just a couple days after the deadline with Caris LeVert still getting meaningful minutes on this team, it does hurt to see as a Pistons fan, someone that wanted them to go out. This is a core that, yes, is great, and I do like a couple of the quotes that he had about wanting to build within, but looking at it, you wish you could add another guy to it. This is a young team that has proven that they deserve to get some extra help. Not that they need it. I mean, the fact they're sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference, but at the end of the day, just 4.5 games ahead of the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. This is the team that is almost on the butt of OKC as well. It would just have been nice if they added extra to this depth, even an extra depth piece where Caris LeVert would have went the other way. Of course, Kevin Huerter coming in, we're going to speak on him, but it does dive into these quotes and we're going to see multiple coming through. You got to look at not only the identity of this team, but you can see it between the lines. You can definitely see it at the locker room. There's a factor for us making what the group feels the same way post-trade deadline. Now, a lot of people, including myself, looked at this and listen, you went out to get Kevin Huerter. I think he's going to add a lot. But looking at this quote, it feels like moving Jaden Ivey was a big rift in the locker room. Of course, they're going to continue playing. They dropped their first game, but listen, it's the first game. You had Kevin Huerter, and a couple people are still banged up. But at the end of the day, looking at wanting to keep the identity, of course, you don't want to pay Jaden Ivey. That was made clear by this management group. But when you're diving deeper into this and the quotes coming through, obviously the departure of Ivey is going to be difficult for all of us, but I think Kevin fits the way that we play. High character guy that plays in a couple of good different environments and is excited about being in the winning environment where we're trying to create. Now, looking at that, I'm sure everyone's seen the tweet where we did see Huerter talking about the bad boy Pistons and the other teams, just speaking about how much he loved that. So maybe Kevin at heart is a big Pistons fan, but at the other end of the day, it doesn't feel like the best ad. Now, listen, of course, he's going to bring a lot. We know the number he's putting up, and of course, that was on a bad Chicago team. But looking through the numbers again, nearly 11 points, 4 rebounds, almost 3 assists. We can see the true shooting is a little low. The 31% from 3 feels like an outlier when you're looking at the rest of his career. The big thing diving into Kevin Huerter is a big guy that also his defensive numbers have picked up. Of course, defensive rating doesn't look the best on paper, but the pace, the turnover ratio, the assists to turnovers. This is a guy that can put the ball on the floor a little more than given credit when looking at how he played on the Bulls. But when you're looking at the move itself, once again, just the first game and what Ivey did versus the Raptors with Chicago, of course, you can look at this and say that maybe he would have done this with another team, but 13 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 60% from 3. It feels like one of those trades that, of course, you want to go out and you want to make this team better, but it felt like keeping Ivey to see could he continue to grow. I know a lot of people in the comments felt the exact same way, but the big thing is, looking at Huerter, the numbers are going to go up. Look at Cade Cunningham. We know what he does on the floor. There's about 40 clips you could have used where Cade sucks the entire defense into that paint. If you fill that corner with Tobias Harris, if you put Kevin Huerter, Duncan Robinson, it's going to be open threes all day. The numbers are going to continue going up. But the big thing is, looking at this, we can even see Pistons fans. Huerter is a good movement shooter, cutter, and made himself a respectable piece in a 5-out offense in Chicago. The size is nice, and the defense have become better defenders. Just kind of inconsistent like the current day Ivy plus weak East. Lots of teams got better for the next 2 years. And the Pistons felt like that one team that never got fully better. Of course, they can still go out in this offseason and make some moves, but I fear that you have such a good team right now, this young core that is building together. I love going out to say, hey, we want to keep this group together. We know what they can do. We're top of the East for a reason, but maybe reward these guys with a little extra. But that's where it gets interesting when you're looking at the buyout market. Now listen, the big thing with the buyout market, you need to clear another spot. Of course, you need to do this already for Jenkins coming in. But a lot of names have started to come out. Cam Thomas, Lonzo Ball, Chris Paul. Ivey's, of course, bought out by the Raptors. Pat Connaughton, Niang, Eric Gordon, Haywood Highsmith, Chris Boucher. You can work your way down. I want you guys to go down right in the comments right now and say a Y for yes, N for no. Do you think the Pistons clear more room to take a swing on the buyout market? We've seen multiple names that could be hitting the market. DeMar DeRozan would be interesting. Listen, it doesn't help with 3-point shooting, but we can get DeMar for another mid-range shooter, a ball handler that could come off the bench. What is your guys' thoughts on this entire deadline? Was this a bit of a bust? Were you hoping for more? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments because I love reading through them. But while you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye for that. Once again, if you made it this far, hit that free subscribe button. It means the world. Go Detroit basketball.